know it's been weird. I know it's been frustrating. Where's your headspace right now?
Uh, I mean, individually, just trying to get back to kind of where I was in the very beginning of the year and where I was last year. Starting to make the adjustments again and getting back to that. So I've been feeling pretty good at the plate lately. But, as a team, I think we're just trying to, obviously we haven't been winning many games lately. So just trying to get back on track. And we got a lot of young guys getting playing time. So just growing and getting experience in that aspect. So it's a strange year for sure. But I think everybody's just, taking it a day at a time and just trying to improve every day.
I know that you expressed desires and you wanted to be a leader on this team. It, Growing into that role, is it harder to do that when the results aren't necessarily there?
Um, Not honestly, not really. I think even when the results aren't there, it's easy to be a leader. Like when everything's going great and everybody's winning, and you don't have to take care of anything. So for me, it's just, I think through tough times, it's more about being a leader and being there for the young guys and guys like Eli and Leote that just came up and Tejada and understanding the shoes that they're in and how tough it is. And I feel for like Eli right now. It's tough. He doesn't have his first hit. That's a lot of weight on your shoulder, and just kind of being there for him and understanding that I was in that situation as well. So I think it's more of a challenge to be a leader more when you're not doing well, and you can kind of show your light a little bit more than when everything's going great. It's everybody's happy, everything's good, and everybody can be a leader. So I see it as a good challenge.
Then one more thing for me. So, for you, we've talked about putting pressure on yourself. We've talked about outside expectations, your expectations. How are you learning to manage that at this point in your career, regardless of, this season or whatever? Just how you're handling those things at this point in your career with the amount of service time you've had, with the amount of experience you now have in the big leagues, and the things you have experienced at this level.
Yeah, for me, I don't really put as much expectation on the outside pressure anymore as I used to. I understand, when you don't play good, people, they're not going to like you. When you play good, they're going to love you. I know that now. I think for me, it's just more of the expectations of myself I put on myself, and wanting to be really good player and a great player, and the expectations that the organization have of me. That's really what I care about in my teammates. So, when I'm not playing well, it's, I understand you're going to have to write about it. There's going to be people that are frustrated that I don't really look into that as much as I used to anymore, because I know how tough baseball is. But I just feel like a lot of times I let the team down, and I let myself down because I work so hard. So that's the challenge more, and that's what's been challenging this year, is just going into a slump and not coming out of it and feeling like we're not winning games, and I could have came up in a certain situation and helped win the game. That's kind of the expectations I put on myself. But I'm learning to be better and understand that it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. Like, it's going to be some struggles, and I think there's a lot of growth from that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Thank you, dear. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Take a few more. We're going to Evan and then Levi.
Well, quite frankly, I'm very hurt to know that you're not reading if we don't say good things about you. So
I'm just figuring you're not.
I'll try and get over that. Louis said you had some good conversations this weekend with him, just about where you were and everything. Mentally, Joey, do you feel at all like you let anything get into your head this year beyond expectations, particularly the stadium and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's different being in a different stadium. It really is. And I think like what we talked about with Louis, they kind of showed me a sheet, kind of broke down the difference in what I was doing last year and what I was doing this year, and kind of what he thought was like, I was seeking to get more power because I was playing in such a bigger park. Now your swing, you're creating more movement, you're creating more, you're opened up more, and you're trying to create power when you didn't have to necessarily. But when you're playing in a bigger park, you're thinking in your head, wow, I have to hit a ball a certain distance. Now I have to create it even more. So I tried to get back to, and I wasn't disagreeing with it. I think that was a pretty good point. I didn't really feel like that ever at the whole stadium, so it's kind of it is interesting, and I think it's a little bit different. We're trying to get used to that, but you know, I'm starting to go back to the adjustments I had last year and early on, very early in the year, and like I said, starting to feel a little bit better. So like what I talked to him about is like, yeah, it sucks to struggle, but I'm almost happy it happened too, because I've learned a lot, and I've seen the difference in my setup and my stance and things that like I can't do, you know, and I know like right away if I see that, hey, like that's not going to work for me now. So it is a learning process as well, you know. Like I said, it's not always going to be you know rainbows, butterflies. It's going to be, you know, a lot of struggles. So I'm trying to grow from it.
Last thing for me is Louis went over a little bit of what maybe had kind of gotten out of sync for you. Talked about opening up, your stance had opened up a little bit. In your words, what have you addressed? What have you fixed at the plate, or trying to fix?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would say trying to fix. You know, it's not a quick fix, but it's just, you know, I was, like I said, I was opened up a little bit more, spread out. You know, my front foot was back towards like our home dugout more, and now I'm trying to get closed up a little bit more, where I'm like a little more straight to the pitcher. It's less movement, and it just like it creates like a cleaner path for me. So that's just kind of what we're getting back to. And like as soon as I did it, it was like that first game that I hit the home run in Seattle. It was pretty much the adjustment. I was like, wow. It's like I could tell that was like such a difference, and it was such an easy swing. And you know, it just kind of all the pieces, like we were saying today in the cage with Louis, is like the pieces start falling together when I get that setup right. And the swing comes out the way it's supposed to. So that's pretty much it, just closing off a little bit more and staying a little more straight up to the pitcher.
Okay, thank you, Joey.
Thanks.
Hey, I was off the day that you hit the home run in Seattle. Did they ever figure out how far that went? Because I heard at the time that it broke StatCast.
I have no idea. I think someone told me like 430 something feet, but I don't know. I mean, I thought maybe it went a little further than that, but.
To listen to the announcers, it sounded like that. Hey, I wanted to ask you, I know we're a little bit past the trade deadline now, but this is kind of the first time that your name has come up in trade discussions. And I was just curious, when we talked, then, how was that for you? Did you pay attention to that at all? Was that in your head at all, or were you able to kind of close that out?
Well, like I wasn't paying attention to it too much. And then the last day, it was like Sunday, I started to get a ton of text messages like, dude, you're getting traded. Like, what's going on? Like, hey, like, where are you going? Like, hey, you're going to like Tampa. You're going to, I was like, oh, damn. Like, I don't really have a ton of social media during the season. So I didn't realize like I was even in the trade talk. So I thought I was like, oh, whatever. And then it like started to increase, and like my friends from back home were messaging me, and and then I was like, then I started to get a little nervous. Like, oh man, like I actually might be getting traded. You know, I've been in talks before. It was more of like when I was in the minor leagues, but this one was definitely a lot more real, where I went to sleep. It was tough to sleep because I really didn't know if I was going to wake up and be in a different city. But it was I went to sleep thinking, you know, this might be the last time I play for the Texas Rangers, and it was tough for me. It was sad because, you know, I love this organization, and I want to win here, and I love playing here. So, you know, it was a long night for sure, and I'm glad I didn't, because I think there's a lot of work we can do here, and I want to win as a Texas Ranger.
Do you have any conversations with John Daniels over the course of all that? I know you mentioned you talked to Lance Lynn a little bit.
Yeah, no, I talked to him. You know, I pretty much just said the same thing. Like, hey, you know, I hope you guys think that I don't want to not be here. I love playing for Texas, and you know, I want to be here, and I want to help you guys win in the future. So that's pretty much it. I think he knows how much I love to play here, and I want to be here. So, but obviously, like, business is business too, and I understand that aspect of it. So yeah, there was communication, and then right after the deadline, he called me and talked to me and said, hey, like, we're not trading you, and you know, we're happy to still have you and whatnot, and kind of explained everything. So there's no hard feelings at all. It's, you know, like I said, it's business, so I understand it.
I'd be careless not to ask the one final hard question at the end of that. Have you guys about staying here more long term?
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been anything like concrete or anything on the table. I obviously let him know I would love to be here long term, and you know, I understand like right now we're at a stage like, hey, we're not competing. I get that, but for me, I love being a Texas Ranger. I was drafted as a Texas Ranger. I always seen myself playing here for a long time. So that's when those trade rumors came up. That's why I was a little nervous. I was like, dang, like this is, you know, this is not the way I saw things going. So, you know, I let him know, hey, like I'm obviously open to extending the future here, but I have to get offered first. You know, I can't really make my own offer. So it's I think they understand now. Like I am interested in being here, and I want to be here for the future.
Thank you.
Time for one more.
Thank you.
TR.
John, that was my question. I'll pass to somebody else. Thank you.
Okay, John Rodigan.
Hey Joey, along those lines about the future, when you're in a season like this and you're having the things you're going through personally, can you look back and take a look back and see how bright the future looks in many ways, like Leody Taveras, you know, the progress that Jose Trevino has made, what Isaiah is doing, you know, you're even seeing Anderson's at heyday. I mean, can you recognize and appreciate that even with what you're going through?
Yeah, of course. I mean, these young guys have like really surprised me. You know, they're really talented, and they're a lot more polished than I would think they'd be. You know, when I first came up, like I wasn't a polished prospect like Leody Taveras is. Like this guy can play defense, he can run the bases, he has consistently good at bats, he has power. I mean, he's like a future, you know, all-star center fielder. I in my opinion, just from like watching him from a raw perspective. Eli White, like the amount of like athletic ability he has, running down the line, like blew my mind. I mean, even an umpire came up to me. He was like, "How fast is that guy?" You know, like it's unbelievable. Like the amount of talent we have. And it's young talent, so it's like it's not all going to come together like that. You know, you understand like, you know, there is building towards the future. So you definitely appreciate it. And when these guys come up and they play like the way they play, it's great to see, you know, that the future is as bright as it is. You know, right now it's tough, and I know it's, you know, for Ranger fans, it's like, wow, you know, we're not winning, but like you have to look at the future and look at the people we have coming in, and I think it's very bright for us.
And just a quick follow-up to that, Joey, when it is like you and Leody and let's say Eli out there in left field, I mean, that's an awfully good defensive outfield.
Yeah, a really good defensive outfield, and it makes you feel confident when you're out there. You know, I love having a guy like Leody in center field because I know the amount of range we can cover. I know the arm he has. I know the trust that we are already developing within each other. It's not a lot of balls are going to be landing down there and out in the outfield. So, you know, it takes away a lot of runs and a lot of guys on base. So it's great to see that out there, and guys who can really play the defensive position really well. It's, you know, I think that's a huge part of baseball, and that's kind of what we're starting to get back to defensively.
Awesome, Joey. Thank you.